You know what, guys? Right out of the gate, I'm just going to say this. I believe that everybody should be given the chance to shine. I believe that everybody should be given a chance to show what they're capable of, all right, to show what they're made of. At the same time, I also believe that, everyone still has to legitimately pay their dues. In this particular situation, I'm just wondering to myself, how is it that a C-lister character like Boltman gets a promotion into a major franchise wave like the Snake Men? Hey guys, Ken here from the Retro Toy Escapades channel in Malaysia. There's some huge news coming out of the Mattel panel in SDCC 2022. They debuted the images of the brand new Snake Man wave figures that are going to be running through the entirety of MOTU Origins in 2023. So I'm going to be talking about the images that we saw, and I hope that you guys stick around for the video. Now, we were treated to images of what appears to be a full wave of 4 figures comprising the Snake Armor HeMan, Cobra Khan, Ratlor, and Boltman. Now, chronologically speaking, we're still supposed to be waiting on the wave that comprises of Whiplash, King Randor, the mini-comic Trapjaw figure, and probably one more figure. But it seems that the mini-comic Trapjaw figure has been lost in limbo for like almost 1 year. The images were like online. I covered it on this channel as well, like a year ago. What's happened to those figures? Are those supposed to be the next upcoming Wave 10 figures? And then is this particular wave that we're looking at here, is this supposed to be Wave 11, or is that supposed to be like another wave in the middle of it? Well, I'm not really sure. Curiously, there was no mention of these figures anywhere on the panel, and none of the journalists who were covering the event even brought it up or even asked questions about it. Well, anyway, I'm asking, and I guess most of you guys out there are wondering what's happened to those figures as well. But this batch of figures is anchored by the Snake Armor HeMan, the most powerful snake hunter in the universe. That's right, even in Eternia, all the way out there in the far-flung corners of the universe, they've got an issue with snakes. I gotta tell you something. I mean, here in Malaysia, where I'm staying at, I'm living in a residential area. Okay, it's a nice neighborhood. Somehow, over the course of the last 10 years, I can tell you that we've had incidences of giant pythons literally just wandering from somewhere. Okay, I mean, it's like they got washed through some giant storm drain somewhere and they turned up, probably the fact that because it rains here a lot, and maybe they just got washed in to the neighborhood. So giant pythons have basically appeared in my neighborhood on 3 separate occasions, and we had to get the fire department to come and help to remove them and take them away. But in this instance, we find out also that we can also turn to HeMan. Now, the packaging for this series has been completely redesigned and now features a Snake Man motif. Right from the top of the package, you see this giant snake head just looming just over the words Masters of the Universe. And then as you go all the way down, there's these reptilian scale-like details that are worked into the plastic bubble. That looks fantastic. It really shows off this extra level of care and attention to detail, which I think is very impressive. And then right there in the front, we've got this huge Snake Man sticker. That looks awesome. Okay, I wish that the package came with a removable Snake Man sticker, because that's the kind of sticker that I want to put on my laptop or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, a lot of the images of the packaging was circulating online all over social media and Instagram yesterday. I mean, people were just getting so buzzed up about this because it was all new. And most of the images were taken off screen captures from YouTube clips. And because I don't think that there were any official photos, I didn't see any official photos of any of the packaging that was out there. But I shared some of the images on Instagram, and I tagged Roy Juarez, who's the lead packaging designer at Mattel, the guy who works on the actual packaging, who works on the new packaging that you're seeing here on the Snake Man wave. And he actually sent me a message, and he said that he actually enjoys my YouTube channel. I was like, what? You actually watch this channel right here? He told me that he actually finds the content very entertaining, and I was like, whoa, that is high praise indeed. Okay, see guys, I did tell you, right? People from Mattel do watch the channel. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, this particular version of HeMan, the Snake Armor HeMan, does not come from any version of the character that was created in the 1980s. There's no Snake Armor HeMan in the vintage toy line. This version of the character comes from the 2002 cartoon series, also known as the best animated version of HeMan ever created. And also the toy line that corresponded with it featured this action figure for the first time in 2004. As you can see from the packaging, there's also a Snake Man takeover And this was the packaging design that was used for all of the figures in this wave for about a year. And it just seems like the Snake Men were brought in to reinvigorate the brand. And that's kind of like what we're seeing here now as well. Although I do wonder if the use of the Snake Man takeover on the packaging for the new figures that are coming up, is it also in a way a homage to what we saw here in 2004? If you look closely, you can still see the original store price tag from all the way back in 2004. Wow, that was a great time, man. I was like living it up back then, just not a care in the world. But check this out. It was 29.90 ringgit, and that roughly corresponds to about 7 USD today. The power sword that comes with this figure is ginormous. Okay, you thought the Netflix power sword was huge? Wait till you check this guy out. At the same time also, that's because there's a projectile inside that that shoots out, but I've never opened this, alright, so I've never actually tried it out for myself. As I understand it, this snake armor He-Man figure is pretty hard to find these days, especially back in the day. I think it was only released throughout Europe and Asia, and I've had this thing sealed on card for the last 18 years. Okay, but I always knew there would be a day that I'll probably unbox this thing, and now that I got the channel going, I do want to do a review for it, but it's got to be for something special, guys, right? And look, check this out. I've opened up memberships here as a means of seeking support to keep the channel going, and I do thank those that have signed up so far. Your support means a lot to me. I do want to have exclusive content on the site just for members, and I tell you what, if this channel hits 200 members, if I get 200 members signing up, I will unbox this thing. All right, I will open up this rare figure, unbox it, and review it just for you guys. The link to join up as a member is in the description box. I thank you in advance for your support, guys. And remember, 200 members, that's the target. Also, from the reveals at the panel, we were treated to new carded images of Ratlor and Camokhan. Now, from these frontal images here, you can actually see the snake patterning that's been worked into the plastic bubble. You see that there? Yeah, the reptilian effect. You can see how it's got that scaly look. Now, I'll be honest, guys, I was never really a fan of the original Snake Men vintage figures, at least the ones that I had. I didn't have a lot, but I had guys like Ratlor, I had Camokhan, Tang Lashaw. I didn't have the really rare guys like King Hiss, Squeeze, okay, he's pretty rare, and the other one, Snake Face. I didn't have any of those guys, but the ones that I did have, what happened was that through the process of kind of like toy trading through the last 10 or so years, these were like sold off, and I got other stuff in, and I regretted that since, okay, because it's like in those early days, I wasn't really sure how deep I wanted to go into a property. I always liked Masters of the Universe, and at first I thought to myself that there's just probably no way that I could probably get like an entire vintage collection, and I just wanted to concentrate on the core figures alone. The Snake Men were one of the first to go. I wish I had held on to most of them. I wish I held on to that Camokhan figure, that's for damn sure, because it even came with the blaster. The accessories were rarer than the actual figures, and the blaster that Khan came with, that was kind of hard to come by. So with Origins, I was really looking forward to seeing and obtaining improved versions of these characters, updates from the original vintage designs with the action features and stuff like that. I was really looking forward to it. However, from what was actually conveyed at the panel that we saw online, it seems like that's not quite what's happening, okay? So it seems like the new figures here now come with extensions that sort of like replicate their original action features. So for instance, Camokhan here no longer shoots water, but you do get like a water effect, okay, like a water blast effect that you could actually attach into his mouth to make it seem like he's shooting or spraying something at you. Where's the fun in that, guys? Okay. I mean, I was hoping to get a video done sometime in the future where you could have Snout Spout and Camokhan, just going at it, just spraying, hosing each other down. Okay, Robot Elephant takes down Snake Monster guy. I mean, that's not gonna happen. Okay, so that's kind of curious because it seems like a water spraying gimmick is something that's not too hard to incorporate into a figure like this, unless you're telling me that it's going to drive up the cost and make it impossible to have it as a standard figure. Well, I'm not really sure. And then we get down to Ratlor. So Ratlor, it seems, the classic figure had this feature where, you had a lever on the back there where you could just extend his neck, right? So it looks like he's striking at you, like that, the actual toy was, it just popped up. His head just popped up. I'm not saying like it's revolutionary or anything like that, but it's just a fun effect. And it seems that this time around, instead of having that, apparently, according to what was conveyed at the panel, we're gonna get something of an extra head that has a stretched out neck. So it kind of seems that you could just attach that alternate head and that have it look like he's striking you, right? Now, although the prospect of an alternate head is cool, but it makes me wonder, why not just incorporate the original action feature? On the packaging for Ratlor, it does advertise one classic feature. It says here, makes fearsome battle rattle before attacking. This is something that the vintage figure did as well. I think there was just something that was contained in the figure's torso that was just rolling about. So if you just shook the figure around, it would make like a rattling sound, like a baby rattle. Like goo goo gaga. It's like a rattling sound. Yeah. So. That's what you're getting with this one, right? It's an incorporation of the classic figure and also some updates. But I kind of noticed that both of these figures do not have their traditional action features, which makes me feel that we're all the more fortunate when we get stuff like Mentana, and Mentana actually has the pop-out eyes. Okay, you didn't get like a separate set of eyes to attach his face to show that it's popping out. You just got the original action feature, which was updated. That's kind of like what I was hoping for with this one too, but no. And then we make it down to Boltman, the final figure that makes up this wave of upcoming Snake Man figures. And like I mentioned at the start of the video, this is the one character that I'm wondering what exactly is he doing here, because he's not a character that I even recognize. I don't have any knowledge about the character. The card artwork here says, there's a description here says that he's a molecular regenerator, whatever that means, man. Because honestly, I've never heard of the character, but you're asking me to invest in this character to get this entire wave, and that's how it's going to work, because the wave is going to come in a set. And I can't deny that definitely there's a need for characters to be there, but just give me characters that are from the existing universe. All right, don't give me new characters that I've never heard of before, and that I have no forget, I can't even hear a voice in my head. It's like, if the character had a backstory or was related to some kind of animation before this, or had a history in a comic book or something like that you were reading, you could probably like picture the character's voice in your head, all right? So you could identify with the character better. In this case, that's not happening. And I think that the only time in history where I recall actually having to, buying up figures of characters that I never even heard of before, I think that only happened with McFarlane Toys, okay, back in the 90s. Because that back then, they were like literally, there wasn't really a lot of cool stuff out there to actually collect if you were a toy collector, and McFarlane was dominating the scene. And he would just, McFarlane would just put up wave after wave of figures, characters that you never even heard of before. But the thing is, you would be compelled, right, to purchase them because they were like freaking cool hybrid monsters. Okay, you know this, all right? If you're a McFarlane Toys collector back in the 90s, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That was the only time I recall actually purchasing figures, all right? Just right off the bat, I see a cool looking figure. It's like a tortoise mixed up with something that looks like an octopus, I don't know, something like that. And, I just said, look, shit, I got to get this. But you give me a standard human figure, all right, it's like you're telling me that this guy's a superhero, but who is he? It is not just something that I want to invest in, and I hope that we don't have to be in a situation like this. Probably if there was some supporting media around Boltman, if there's a supporting media to actually help convey to us more of what the character was, I think that maybe there's a chance that people will be pulled into the character, but just don't shove it in this particular wave, and I have to get it because I want the other figures. Also at the panel, we were treated to images of King Hiss. Now, this version of King Hiss is based off his classic 1980s vintage design and not the 2002 King Hiss, which is in a way kind of surprising to me as well, because this King Hiss is going up against the 2002 Snake Armor HeMan. Having said that, this design is, there's just something about the original King Hiss design which I think pales in comparison to the 2002 version. The 2002 version, I think, is a far superior looking design. I think he just looks way more menacing and regal. Maybe it's the design of the cowl, but whatever it is, I think that design really nailed it. However, both of them suffer from a certain flaw in the sense that the action features are kind of, dodgy. I mean, basically, they got like a host of snakes hidden within their bodies. You just have this frontal section pop down and the snakes pop up. It's kind of weird in a way. So in this particular incarnation, this figure is apparently going to be a deluxe. Well, definitely, because he's the leader, right? A standard package isn't going to do it for him. So King Hiss is going to be a deluxe, and he comes with a lot of stuff. What he mainly also comes with are separate attachments to form his snake mode. By the way, I could be wrong, but it kind of seems like his main body has got a little bit of that vac metal shiny coat to it, like a shiny vac metal sheen to the paint. If that's the case, I'd say that that's pretty darn awesome. And now, to be honest with you, something about the accessories that are included with this figure, the staff, the shield, and the colors of the snake limbs, they kind of look pretty cheap to me. I mean, I gotta say, it just looks very, how should I put it? It doesn't have that premium feel to it. I know that these are mass market figures, but still, the figures do tend to have a premium feel to them from time to time. This one apparently just seems very gaudy in a way. Of course, I reserve judgment, complete judgment until I actually have the figures in hand. But I will say that, they've gone with this decision to actually form his snake mode by actually having the parts attach itself to the body as separate parts. So you got like separate snake hands, you got a separate snake head, and you can also remove the armor to have the snake torso within. And I think that all that's pretty cool, but it kind of feels like, sort of like a parts former kind of thing. Like, I would prefer if the figure that actually transforms into something has all the parts contained within, like a transformer, I suppose, because that's what the original figure was going for, and if they could have found a way to just improve on that, I think that the end result would have been better. That's just how I feel. When I look at King Hiss, right, the first thing that always comes to mind is the Tulsa Doom character from the Conan movie, the original Arnold Conan movie from 1981. Because he was like this evil sorcerer type ruler that could also transform into a snake. Hey, remember that one? There's something about this actually. When I look at figures like these, they remind me of the G1 Transformers, the original first wave of Transformers. I think the ones that were actually imported over from Takara, because I got back the molds after a couple of years. And this was from the original first batch of re-released figures in the year 2000, I believe. They came in like this bookshelf format packaging that you could open up like a book, and you had the entire figure and all the accessories inside. Anyway, one of the figures that I rushed out to get was the original G1 Starscream, because I kind of always thought, Starscream's awesome. I never actually had the original figure, and when I actually got it for myself, I was really impressed. First of all, the fact that the figure was like, there's a lot of die cast on it. The plane mode's awesome, but then the problem started when you had to transform him into his robot mode, and it's like a lot of the parts, that you require to form his robot mode had to be kept separately. See, because when he was in his plane mode, there was no place to put his fists and stuff like that, his weapons. They were all separate, so they had to be stored away somewhere else, and that sucks. These days Transformers are all built in, all right, so like everything that you need to form an alternate mode is already on the figure, and that's kind of like what I would like to see in a figure like this that actually is able to transform into two separate modes. Also at the panel, we got a look at the upcoming exclusive Camokhan. Now, having a Cobra Khan isn't going to be enough, guys. You're going to need a Camokhan figure too. Now, this is actually based off a vintage Argentinian variant of the Cobra Khan figure, and it's turning up as an exclusive. And in fact, this listing for the Camokhan popped up on the Mattel Creations site. It's listed there as coming soon. It turned up there, In fact, a day before the thing was actually revealed at SDCC. So in fact, at first, we saw the listing for it, was wondering like, what was this thing all about? Anyway, they revealed it in full. They had the full figure, in fact, already ready to be shown to the public. They went into detail with it. Let's discuss it here. Now, in terms of what you appear to be getting in an exclusive package, a standard-sized Origins exclusive package, this appears to be one of the best that I've seen in a really long time. It comes with a ton of extras from what they showed us. First of all, it's got an alternate head. It's got like an alternate cobra head, right? And the entire figure looks like it's done with metallic paint. There's a lot of metallic paint highlights, so that's awesome. Okay, he has two weapons, one of which is the standard blaster. I don't know if there's any variation from the one that comes with the standard packed figure, but he also has that is it the axe weapon, the one that's recolored from the one that Buzzov has. He's got alternate hands, and he's got that blast effect, okay, that water spray blast effect that you attach into his mouth. Probably is the same piece as well that comes with the standard figure. I'm not really too sure, but it's just something about this release that reminds me so much of the deluxe Sunman exclusive that also was announced last year at roughly around the same time. Because first of all, he comes with metallic parts, is metallic paint on his body, just like that Sunman exclusive did, and he's got a whole lot more stuff, an alternate head, just like that deluxe Sunman did as well. And the other thing is that he has a special tri-fold cardboard package. Okay, so it's like he comes in very collector-friendly package, as was shown at the display. So the entire card bag, in fact, slides out cleanly from the plastic bubble. You don't have to rip off anything. You don't have to cut the plastic. You don't have to do anything like that. You just slide out, okay, the card bag, and the card bag opens up into three sections that tell a story. Okay, there's a comic story there with art by Axel Jimenez, like really gorgeous art they showed us. And this is, in fact, similar to the approach that Sunman Deluxe had as well. And I think that Sunman Deluxe was like retailing, at the site at the time, it was going for like what, 30 USD, the exclusive. And it kind of gave me the feeling that probably every year there might be just one of these exclusives that comes with extra special packaging, and the figure itself comes with some premium paint applications and more accessories, including an alternate head. So this year apparently we're getting Camokhan. By the way, guys, I mentioned earlier that the weapon he's holding on to is similar to the one that Buzzov uses. What? Okay, that was completely an error on my part. I gotta check myself. The tip of it is actually quite similar to the mace weapon that Clawful uses, but the handle is entirely different. And it also appears that this weapon is made out of metallic paint, so it's entirely its own thing. Fantastic. You know what? I'm going to leave errors and mistakes that I make in my videos. I'm just going to leave them in there so that I can see basically if anybody comments on it. I'll know that you watched the video up to this point. And this is turning out to be one of the longest videos that I've posted so far. It's clocking like about 20 minutes. Look, this set right here, I can tell you right now, I am all for it. Okay, this is not like one of those exclusives where I got to be like, undecided. I'm all for it. And it seems that it's dropping pretty soon because it's already up, like the placeholder link for it is already up on Metal Creations. Okay, why would they put it up there if it wasn't coming out soon? So I figured that it's just like the Sunman release from last year, right? The exclusive was announced and was available for pre-order like months in advance before the standard figures came out. But as it turns out with that one, well, at least for Malaysia, we received the standard figures first, and then I think the exclusive only started turning up in the market about a month and a half later. So we'll see how it goes. But definitely, this is one exclusive that I do want to land. Okay, now it's time to get into the second half of the video. Just before I go, the second part of the title, which talks about the possibility of a MOTU Toy Multiverse. Now, first of all, we have the Snake Armor HeMan figure in this particular upcoming wave. The Snake Armor HeMan figure, like I mentioned earlier in the video, is a version that only appeared in the 2002 interpretation of Masters of the Universe. It is a version that exists in a universe that is entirely its own. That universe does not correlate with the Filmation universe. So now we have a situation where we have figures like Ratlor and Cobra Khan, which are also under the Snake Men banner and existing in the same universe as the Snake Armor HeMan, except that these versions of Ratlor and Cobra Khan are based off the vintage designs, right? They're based off the classic 80s designs. So you have a situation here where you have the classic figures merging with the more modern updates. And then you also have the fact that you've got Boltman here, which is from a completely different universe as well. He's from the Rulers of the Sun. So you see what's happening here. All right. Previously, like with the last wave that we got here, the Montana wave, that also had the 2002 HeMan and Skeletor figures. We just accepted that those figures were like, just interpretations of the 2002 figures, but done in an origin scale, but they did not actually belong to the main continuity of figures. So the main continuity was supposed to be those figures that were just updates of the classic 80s figures. All right. So when you saw other stuff happening, like when you saw the 2002 figures, you just took them as just, separate figures. But this is the first time that I'm seeing all of the figures sort of like combining together, all right, under this Snake Man banner, under this one Snake Man storyline. So which leads me to believe that this could very well be the beginning of the MOTU Multiverse. Now, the MOTU Multiverse was actually explored in the comic book. There's a graphic novel out there called HeMan and the Masters of the Multiverse. Excellent read, definitely. But now it seems like this could be an excuse to have it also with the toys. Now, I wouldn't know for sure if this is actually a storyline that's in place, okay, as part of the branding for the Snake Man, or maybe it was something that the toy line was always leading towards, to sort of like find a way to unite all of the different variations of He-Man in pop culture and toys and comics, and just kind of like just all unite them together under one uniform toy banner. I know they're already doing that in the fact that you have them in that origin scale, but also in the terms of a storyline, you see, which in essence means that this particular version of the Snake Armor He-Man shouldn't be regarded as the same He-Man from that of the Wave 1 Origins. It's not like the Wave 1 Origins He-Man morphs into this Snake Armor He-Man. He should be taken as a separate He-Man altogether, but from a different multiverse, and they're all uniting together to fight one common battle. Now, I just feel that if this angle wasn't explored, it would seem like a missed opportunity, but maybe, that was the angle all along. Some of the images that were shared of the amazing artwork that's included with the Camokhan exclusive package, the artwork that's done by Axel Jimenez and Francisco Eckhart, you can see here the beginnings of a story where it's mentioned that Skeletor, in fact, starts out by opening a portal into pre-Eternia. All right. And anytime you hear the mention of the word portal or doorway kind of opening somewhere, okay, that's just the beginning of when all shit hits the fan, and that it opens up a multiverse of possibilities where anything can happen. So literally, it's kind of like hinting towards it right here, okay? In this opening statement here, Skeletor opens a portal to pre-Eternia. Now, over at the bottom there, we're treated to an explosive action sequence taking place between the Snake Man and the heroes of Eternia. Now, you see King Hiss is on that T-Rex, right? Okay, look, that's one T-Rex that I've always wanted my collection. I hope that this means that Origins is going to be doing it, all right? Because I never got the vintage one, and I would really like to add this T-Rex next to the one from Dino Riders, all right? Look, let's just make it happen, guys. Anyway, this explosive action sequence is taking place, and you see that leading the charge on the part of the heroes is King Grayskull. It's the version of King Grayskull, the black King Grayskull that we saw for the first time in the Revelation cartoon series. So now, whatever you want to think about Revelation, a lot of people said that, I think the official synopsis says that it's supposed to be a sequel to the Filmation series, but no freaking way, guys. When you watched it, it's like existing in this completely different universe. And yeah, so the King Grayskull from that Revelation universe is here. Okay, so that just makes it even more undeniably possible that a MOTU Toy Multiverse is taking place. Okay guys, so that's the video. If you've made it this far all the way through without skipping or pausing, I thank you and I congratulate you. Before you leave, do take a moment to click on the join button and become a member of the channel. It really helps me out. It really helps the channel continue to be able to deliver content like this if you enjoy it. And I'll catch you guys again real soon. Take care out there.